Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Do something a little bit different tonight. One of the things I want to talk about is the intro. When I was talking about, that last call and how I made provisions for him, I'm trying to make provisions for you. There is no such thing as you closing up and forgetting about you. Last call is just an opportunity for you to step up, to pour out.
Okay.
That's what we do at Bar Talk with Jay, and I hope we can pour some great things into you.
Absolutely.
Now I got to tell you about this garbage company that I do work for.
Yeah.
It's called Dispose, LLC. Now one thing about this company, not just about the size, it's about the things they're willing to do. How I know it? Because I'm the one's going to make sure it gets done.
Okay.
So why don't you just give us an opportunity, give us a call, and we can show you some things that you might not have thought about how to do it. I have 28 years experience. I think I can put that to work for you. And again, this is something special that I'm willing to do over here at Dispose, LLC.
Okay.
Now, I got to get back to this person been rocking with me for the last 4 years, come September the 17th. Craftmatic, how you doing, big baby?
I'm doing good, Jay. I'm doing good, Jay.
Still smiling.
Fired up, man.
I like that, enthusiastic too.
Fired
I like
up,
that.
Fired up, Jay.
All right, man.
This
What
is,
got you fired up now, man? What's new on the plate, my brother?
Man, when you look at my life from a big perspective, I've had these several projects for the past year and a half, and they are all coming to fruition. They're all coming closure. The documents signed, the work is put in, just the details are being put together, and I just feel like it's woosah for a little while,
Yes,
Woosah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so just been doing fantastic, man, keeping my head in the game, grinding every day, every night. Life is good, man. How you doing, Smooth Jay?
Man, I'm going to tell you, same. I've had a lot of things come to pass, and as it came, I'm realizing there's so much more to be done.
Yes, there is.
And it's like, man, once I get past one hurdle, I got another one.
Mhm.
But I'm starting to find out, man, it's not stressful. It's just life.
Yes.
So you got to quit looking at it as a negative. Like, once I get past this, it's over. No.
Right, it's not over.
It's constant work.
Yeah, it's never going to be over.
He gave me a mission when I got here.
Yes.
He never told me it was going to be easy. He ain't never told you to be lazy.
That's right.
That's just what you wish. But guess what? Everything you wish for, you don't get.
You don't get.
So
you got to
we
be
don't-
like the worker bee. There's one article I read about the ants.
Mhm.
The worker bees are the ants. If everybody disappeared, the ant would still keep working. No matter what, he's going to
Sweet.
get up every day and he's going to grind
Work.
all day, every
Until you
day.
can't no more.
And they build empires, several of them in their lifetimes. So we got to be like the ants, man. We got to just keep grinding. A great way to start our show. This is
Okay.
Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And of course, we are here to liberate your minds and your souls with just inspirational dialogue. We're going to have a fantastic discussion on a particular topic tonight, and we want you to chime in your own way, from your own place, and really try to find the magic in the conversation for you. How does it help you grow? How does it help you get rid of some old stuff or move on to some new stuff? How does this information impact you? And while you're in your living rooms, your offices, wherever you are listening to it, make sure that you make some clear decisions as we go through this. This is how I'm going to handle this the next time that happens to me. When you get clear in your spirit like that, it's like building a muscle, a spiritual muscle. And when you get to that situation, you'll automatically know what to do. Right? So you're building yourself just through our simple dialogue here. So thank you folks again for being here with us. We are so grateful for your time. We hope you enjoy the show. We always start the show off with a prayer. And I don't know, Jay, if you want to...
Nah, man, it's ready to be a holiday, man. Take it to him. Take it to him,
Okay.
man.
Tonight we're just going to ask the Lord for us to show us more beauty. All right? And so Heavenly Father, we come into your presence now just thanking you for everything that you are in our lives, for who you are and what you do. We give you full measure, Lord, to do your good and perfect work in our lives. We ask tonight, Lord, that you would bless us with beauty, that you would give us a consciousness of beauty, that you would show us beauty in our lives and in the world, that you would fill us and fill our lives with beautiful things and beautiful opportunities and beautiful people and a beautiful life. Allow us to experience the beauty that you created in our own lives. Tonight, Father, we ask that you would bless this show and everyone here participating and those who are listening. We ask that you would inspire us from on high. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Woo, I felt that one, Craft.
Yeah, I felt that one too, bro.
Beautiful.
Yeah. One of the things I'm trying to get people to understand through my new project is that before you get to a place, you got to call it a thing. Right? So before you get to tomorrow, you got to call tomorrow productive. Tomorrow is going to be a productive day.
Speak it into
right?
existence.
If I want to see beauty and experience beauty in my life, I want to speak beauty into the world. Tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day. Everything about tomorrow is going to be beautiful. I'm going to meet beautiful people. I'm going to have a beautiful time. I'm going to feel beautiful. I'm going to have beautiful thoughts flowing through my mind. That I set up the day in my consciousness.
To be beautiful.
And as surely as I do, it manifests. I've done it thousands of times, Jay.
So what happened when the ugly one come up?
Well, I'm going to find the beauty in her. And the Lord will just inspire you with that. She met somebody you met, or know somebody you know, or maybe you might be an old friend, or, you know, it could be so many valuable and beautiful things to come out when your spirit is seeking that.
Oh, so
Right?
you
That's
just
how we're
forgot
supposed to
all about
live.
your eyesight.
Now forget
You
your
went
eyes.
back, you had to forget, because your eyes let you know. Now that
Your
won't work.
eyes will mislead you.
And you
I
know
promise
something?
you.
That's been so true.
Yes.
You know, because you used to following what you see compared to what you believe.
And what you know. Right?
That's probably not
Yeah.
always factual.
Yeah.
What you know is what you've been taught.
Yeah.
And we all know we've been taught some bull.
Yeah, you know you got a wife at home, but your eyes lead
You somewhere, lead you into a black eye, you get home, and a frying pan and some grits.
Exactly right, bro. Exactly right. Let's go ahead and cover last week's topic. It was a really good topic. Gave us an opportunity to really think about family, people who are close to us, how we treat them, how they treat us. The title of the show was "Pack It In."
Now that's when it don't get hard, right?
Would you allow family members to move in with you, to improve their situation?
Oh.
You stop.
Now, okay, you know,
Why
you
I
said
gotta
pack
always
it
say
in.
that, man? Why
Man,
I
you
gotta-
said pack it in. The old
You
definition.
said pack it in. You put this damn thing together, man.
See what happened?
I thought you was CEO, man.
I know, man. What happened?
You're a dirty CEO, man.
Packing it in is definitely dirty. Definitely your mind ain't there.
Right.
But what we talked about was more important. It wasn't, again, it's just the jokes. But the realness is at hard times, are you willing to open your doors up? And I like to say when we had this, I love the discussion because I felt like I'm so stubborn now I wouldn't do it as much. But because of the time, what's going on, I can change my mind instantly. If there's a trauma, a house just burnt down, even though I might not want to be inconvenienced, I will be inconvenienced because again, you didn't ask for that.
Right.
And it might be a time that the good Lord is working on me to make me know that I have to do more work.
Yes.
I can't just be stubborn in all my ways.
Right.
But again, it's easier that way because I already know it can cause confusion. I know it can do this, but the good Lord said it don't have to. That's your mindset.
Yes.
Think positive, be positive, and it don't have to be that way. And then you become a positive vessel.
Yes.
We become a stubborn vessel that just don't want no drama, and we cause drama by being, I like to say, evil.
Okay. Listen, I think it was a great show. A few key points that came out of it for me was that I'm only interested in helping those who are interested in helping themselves. Right? I'm not interested in taking on any dead weight. Dead weight does not produce fruit. But somebody who I know is going to get up and do what they're supposed to do and make, as quickly as they come into my house, they'll make ready to move out of my house. Those are the people who I'm willing to help. And I'll help them with no money out of their pocket. You know, if I got somebody, I've had several people to come and need some help, want to stay with me, for 6 months, a year, whatever, 2 years.
Ain't gotta pay nothing.
I mean, I did all that I could to pour in. You know what I'm saying?
I need help.
I'm all about this. I have a spiritual way about me, right? See, I live this life where I've given up my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when things happen to me, I'm kind of saying, okay, well, that's God doing this. So if God's doing this, what are you telling me, God? God is saying, listen, I'm letting you pour in right now. I'm making you pour in, right? This person's living with you and they're spending your money and drinking up food and using water and detergent and everything. And you know what? Just hold on, son. You're pouring in right now. That's part of the spiritual process for you. When you learn how to pour in is when you can receive greatly. And so I obeyed and I did what the Lord said do. And I helped these people out. And, didn't always feel good about it and continued to be in the presence of the Lord, so to speak, in every situation because you just never know what people are going through, man. And the other side of it, you never know when you're going to be put in that situation. You know, you never know when you're going to have to face the thing that, you know, the guy who asked you for help outside the store, at the convenience store, you just don't know what he's going through. And your little $5, $1, $10, whatever that is you give him could be like salvation, you know? And so we have to learn to pay attention to those opportunities to give. One of the things that we also talked about is being hurt. Many of us have been hurt. We feel taken advantage of. We're not willing to give anymore because you know, they just do us wrong over and over and over again. But we have to break that spirit because you know, our giving is you can't outgive God.
No.
Right? You can't outgive God, and you got to be willing to let go of the past, and whatever those people got from you, hopefully it valued them. Hopefully it made them better. It gave them a bridge over their troubled waters.
Right.
But you can't hold on to the hurts of how they treated you and what they did and didn't do. You got to just let go, because again, those hurts don't hurt anyone but you, right? You got to find a way to let go. More of an opportunity to give freely, just give to life, right? You know, we're all in need of something, and if the world was more giving, I would get what I need faster, and you would get what you need faster, right? So we really got to practice the old karmic law of giving. And moving family members in is not always easy. You know, it requires, we talk some contracts, upfront contracts. In sales, we call it upfront contracts. Listen, here's an upfront contract for you in a car sale. Okay, listen, Bob, Mary, I'm gonna get you pre-qualified. I'm gonna show you the right car, and if the deal looks great, you ready to buy today? Right?
No.
Like this. Listen, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you live in my house. I want you to do what you gotta do. In 90 days, you're gonna be out of my house. So we got an agreement? Fantastic.
Sign right here.
Yeah, sign right here. Or just shake my hand is enough. All we need is agreement.
No, I need that sign.
Yeah. Now listen, I remember you talking about roughing up somebody, man.
We're talking about moving some furniture.
Moving some furniture, yeah.
You can't disrespect me in my home.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
you're gonna stay longer because you didn't save up enough money.
Yeah. And they telling you you're gonna have to evict them, huh?
Yeah, you gonna have to evict me.
That's
It didn't take long.
Yeah.
Behind whooping, it didn't take 2 or 3.
Yeah.
By the time that one was done, that next day he started getting this stuff.
And you had to do 2 or 3 ads?
It was going to happen that way.
Damn.
You know, because it take 30 days before I can get you out. Or you gonna take 30 ass whoops.
Yeah.
Because you took my kindness for weakness.
Right.
For no good reason.
Yeah.
And then you just totally dismissed me.
Yeah.
And felt like, oh, you just gonna do this anyway.
Yeah.
But they do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's somebody trying to get over.
That's all that was.
But the other side of the equation, Jay, you know, I'm always trying to be empathetic of folk.
Okay, what kindness you have for me? Because I ain't had
You know, I'm just wondering, like, every time I think about that kind of situation, I think to myself, what would Christ do? Right? What would Jesus do in this situation? And, you know,
the same Jesus that took the nails up on the cross, the whippings, the thorns.
what would he do about this guy? Would he, you know, what would he have done, you know, with that family member who needed help?
Only thing I can say, since I did help already, sometimes you gotta continue to realize.
Since you did help already,
I helped
right?
already, right?
Yeah.
So already I did some of his work, right?
Yeah.
And just like you make all this into something, and everybody feeds off of it, and they keep on wanting it, because they forget to understand it's a way to get it yourself, but you keep taking from it. I do the same thing, anybody, I'll cut you
And
off.
that's one of the things we talked about. At a certain point, you're going to say enough is enough. I've had enough with you,
Right.
you know, being out all the time or acting like you can't help around here or whatever those things are. And it's time to cut it off. And, you know, you have to make a clear and cut decision, or shall I say, once you make a clear and cut decision, there usually is no turning back.
No.
Because they typically have already shown you what they're going to do. See, I'm a firm proponent of past behavior equals future behavior. It's very rare that people change. They just simply show you who they are.
That's right.
And, you know, that's kind of a sad reality. People can change, but it usually takes some dramatic event before they change. But most people don't. They usually stay who they are. And if that's what they show you, then more than likely that's who
they are.
That's who they are. And so you can't change people, and especially people doing some bullshit.
Come
You know
on,
what I'm saying? People doing some silly shit. So So anyway, it was a fabulous show. I'd love for you folks to check it out. There's so many other great points that came out of the show, to include the prayer. I really love the prayer we did last week. And just please go to any of the media platforms. We are on Facebook, YouTube,
Yep.
Periscope, iTunes,
Yep.
Spotify,
Yep.
Google Podcasts.
Yep.
And we also on Black Planet.
There
and
you go. That's what I'm talking, Crab.
Google
Give it to
Podcast.
him.
What's the other one, Jay?
Man, we on everything. Let go. Offer up.
That's silly.
Craigslist. Blacklist.
Yeah.
Crab list.
Hey, listen, we try to bring inspiration to wherever you are. you
That's
know?
it. No matter where you want to go.
Yeah, and that's really what every marketing ploy needs to be about, being where people are.
Every platform that you can.
Absolutely. So we are going to go ahead and get prepared for our first break. I'm going to give you our topic for tonight, and I've got some great music. I hope you enjoy it. Man, it's a lot of new stuff, and it is truly beautiful stuff. So tonight's topic is, how do you move on or continue living life after a long-term relationship breakup, divorce, or death of a spouse?
Oh, shit.
Let me read that again. How do you move on or continue living life after a long-term relationship breakup, divorce, or death of a spouse?
Can I ask a question on that?
What's that?
Did I even like him?
Did you like them?
Yeah.
Well,
I've been with some people I ain't like. Something happened. Oh, well.
if you breaking up with somebody, you probably
Don't like them. Oh, it's going to be easy.
Right.
I take a stab at this one when
Yeah,
we come back from break.
If you're breaking up with somebody, you probably
don't
don't
really like them.
Yeah, you probably stopped liking them for a long time ago, actually, and have been
That's how they
tolerating
go.
them for some time, you know. So, so you folks stay tuned. We got a great show lined up. This is Bar Talk with Jay. All right, and welcome back to more Bar Talk with Jay.
Yes.
Man,
Back in the building, baby.
I love that track. Boy, that track is so hot.
It was nice.
Yeah, so where you ready to go, Jay? You ready to jump into the subject, man?
I kind of am, but I wanted to do it in a different way because I was asking you, do I really like them? Because normally when you have a lot of feelings and emotions for a person,
Yeah.
it's going to take time.
Let's introduce. So tonight, folks, we're talking about how do you move on or continue living life after a long-term relationship breakup, divorce, or death of a spouse.
Right. And if I was just tolerating them, it's the easiest thing.
Okay.
And that's what I really want relationships to get away from. Tolerating ain't celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
And if I celebrated the person I was with, it's going to be very hard for me to move forward. But then again, we probably had a plan together, so I'm going to continue working the plan. And that's going to be things that's going to keep me more going compared to me trying to go other places.
Yeah, I
and
like
get
where
into
you're going.
depression.
Like where you're going. At. See, what I heard you say was, okay, there's going to be a breakup, and we're going to talk a lot about tonight how to get through the breakup and how to move on with your life.
Mhm.
But you mentioned a very interesting point when you say, did I like them?
Yeah.
And so what that suggests is that I've been actually in a relationship with somebody that I haven't liked for some time. And I may have already left that relationship, but I may have already left it spiritually, but
Mhm.
I'm still here
Physically.
And, there's something to say for being in that position because, we will tolerate stuff for a long time and we know what's going to come and we know what they're going to say and we know that, it's going to be the same old stuff that they've been doing. And so we stay in those relationships and why do we do that, Jay?
Because again, people have trained you and taught you that once you get married, it is forever. It's in your vows. So when you hear the vows for better and worse, and you having these difficult times, it's like, okay, I just gotta hunker down, but you really don't know the process of getting better. You're starting to be that rotten fruit.
Right.
That you wondering why everything else is turning around you, because it's half the time it's you and how you view things.
Mhm.
And that right there is toxic.
Right.
And that's why a lot of relationships stay stay together. It's just toxic though. It doesn't help anybody. They say they stay together for the kids if they have kids.
Right.
I can't say everybody's situation, but I've seen different people that had kids, and it's like, we just gonna do it till the kids get older, okay, and get grown and moved out the house.
Right.
That's the most dangerous thing you can do because they get to see all y'all anger. Now they're thinking that that's how it is to be in a relationship. So now you got more people that's damaged.
Right.
You damaged the kids now. That's not what you wanted. The whole intent was to give them a good life. And then when they get of age, then we go our own way.
Right.
But now they want to get out and away from you because you're dysfunctional.
Right.
But a lot of people say, but the breakup, you just gave up. Okay, well, sometimes you got to understand what you really put in.
Right.
Some people get married for all the wrong reasons. I love it when I be hearing all the time. I love him. Love ain't enough.
Love ain't enough.
He put it down. Okay, just check that off your list.
Right. Right.
That might not be just what you want because there's going to be more days than just laying it down. Do we even work? Because a lot of people tell me, oh, you don't get all the qualities. Because again, how are you checking your list?
Right.
You check one. Did any of the other things check out first?
Right.
Did he have a good job? Did he treat you well? He just put it down.
Right.
You're the simple-minded one. You allow that one thing to shadow the rest that you can easily see. He ain't good at none of the other things.
Right.
So again,
He
when
ain't
it
good
comes
at
to
none of the other things.
and then you wonder about a breakup being, no, that's a good time to get the heck on.
It is a good time to get the heck on, but I want to stress the point because there are a lot of people who don't get the heck on. They stay there and they wallow and they're full of fear and they're full of doubts and they're just concerned about tomorrow or maybe who's going to replace the presence of that person, or maybe they don't have enough money, or maybe they afraid to break up the family. There's a lot of reasons why people do that, but and here's the most interesting dynamics of this whole equation.
What's that?
Is that if you're staying in a relationship where you're miserable and you don't like them, you yourself become toxic.
That's right.
You yourself are so riddled with unhappiness and dissatisfaction, and maybe start feeling resentment, and you're easily upset, and there's just a lot of things that go with being in an environment that's an unfriendly environment. Right? And if you're in a relationship that's not working, it's a very unfriendly environment. There in some cases maybe you're fighting and there's a reason to stay there. That's important. Is there a reason to stay there? Can you find value enough in that person or in being with that person to stay there?
And they fight?
Well, I mean, I'm just asking. If there's not reason enough, then it is time to move on.
I mean, I fight for the one I want to be with, and I use the word fight, not as in just the physical.
Yeah.
You got to fight through life to make things happen. Again, and that's why I look at it like that, not the physicalness of beating somebody up.
Right.
Because, I will move some couches.
Right.
So when I really look at this, I would tell you, watch what you're looking for and what you're trying to keep. That person should be working with you, not against you.
Right.
And a lot of times we communicate to other people, but not to the person that it matters.
Right.
If you got a best friend that you tell everything to, and you can't talk to the one you with, you are that toxic person at that point, because all that you doing is going to feed negatively with you, because she's going to feel like you turning. It should be something y'all work at. And again, if it's something you comment with somebody, that's fine, but you take that and you hold it, because it should be worked out with you two. Y'all need to be the factor in the equation, not an outside source. Now, if y'all got counseling, I do say put that into the equation. All outside sources does not understand y'all completely. And the reason I say that is they hear one side. I've heard so many stories from a person about another person, and I start judging a person off of what they say.
Yes.
And then I find out it's a whole lot more to it.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to sway what the person was telling me, because they was really
There's a
playing
whole
me.
lot more too. Yeah.
Because they didn't want me to know the whole.
They was running game with the story.
Because they didn't want you to see the whole, because then they'll look bad. See, that's the problem with me. Was when you come to me, come genuine, and I will give you back what you're saying. But when you're giving me bull crap, and then you expect me to filter through your bullcrap. You wasted my time.
Wasting my time.
And that's why she
Yeah.
mad at you, because that's all you a waste of time.
Yeah. You're wasting.
That's a negative thing that you don't need to be doing. And that's probably why she be in your ass. But then you want to come over to me because you just want to have a conversation. Because I got a podcast. Don't waste my time on foolishness. If you really want to get in a good relationship and a healthy one, get back happy with yourself. One of the problems is they lose their own happiness.
Right.
You allow somebody to take your happiness. I promise you're going to be a miserable person if you allow somebody to take your happiness.
Yes.
Because I don't care what nobody say. That's something you have to fight for. Your happiness starts with you. And it's an ongoing factor. And then you let somebody
You know
come
what,
in and
man?
take that
You
factor
know what,
away.
man? I had a
Woo!
relationship where I recall several things had happened and several things had been said, right?
Mhm.
That when I look back at it all, I realized that like, she didn't like herself.
Oh.
Like she really didn't like herself. She really didn't love herself. She was always reaching for something, you know what I mean? She was,
Oh.
it was just, and so how do you deal with that? You know what I mean? Like,
That's like low
You know?
self-esteem.
Yeah.
You want to build them up, but please understand,
you
you
can't
can't
build
build
them.
up
Yeah.
what a person ain't feeling.
right,
And again, it can be a waste of time.
right.
And that's why, again, communication and maybe they might need counseling. It might be something stronger and bigger than
It
you.
may be something way bigger than you.
And you are feeling like you're giving it all, and she
Yeah.
should love me for all I do. And if she ain't recognizing you and she ain't accepting you, then really you're just wasting your damn time. And you thinking you're doing something, and you're really not.
And you're really not.
And that's that communication, and that's that
That's exactly
break
right.
in communication.
That's
and that's
exactly
what
right.
causes people to hate one another.
Yes,
And that's not cool.
yes.
To hate anyone.
Yeah, and that's a good point. When you're in the middle of all of this, I'm unhappy, but I'm staying in this relationship. Yeah, hate will develop.
Man.
Hate will come to the surface,
Right next to
and
the
you know, there's lots of reasons. You know that the hate could come. It could come out of something that they're doing or something they're not doing, but you will start to despise the situation, and that just creates unhappiness. So I guess a great point as we talk about how to move on in these relationships is that if it's not working, it's time to move on.
Right.
If it's not working, it's time to move on. We all have to believe that in life there's something better, there's something more, there's something greater, there's someone else who can satisfy you.
Ooh.
You can live life without being with anyone. But to stay in a situation that is miserable is really setting yourself back on so many levels. So we're just encouraging you all who are in situations that may need a change. You know it needs to change, but for whatever reason you just haven't been willing to make it happen. You know, it's time to start thinking about making it happen.
And again, since I threw it out one way, I'm going to throw it out another way.
Okay?
A lot of times people say they fell out of love.
They fell out of love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
First of all, let's get back to the core.
I like
Core is
that.
going to be happiness.
I like that.
Make sure not each other make you happy. You have to have happiness within yourself.
Right.
And if you bring joy to a person and they can't bring joy to themselves, I'm telling you, it's not an equal situation. And I'm talking about equally yoked, because it's not going to be totally fulfilling. It's going to be a lot of miserable days when she ain't having you and she feel like you are world, when she got to realize she's her world as well.
Right.
She has to respect herself.
Right.
And these things have to be communicated, and there's a lot of failure because a lot of people like to be worshipped. I like it when she miserable and she ain't with me. All right. At that point, you're not a good dude. Why in the world would you want her to be miserable when she ain't with you? It's gonna be a lot of times she ain't with you, but she should be praising you, honoring you that you're a good person, not just for the fact that it is only when you're around. It gotta be more than that. And a lot of times we get selfish in a lot of our actions, and that's why we go away from our actions.
Falling out of love is it's a very interesting caption, because falling out of love in my mind says that perhaps at some point we became unequally yoked. That perhaps we were equally yoked at one point, and maybe, you know, we weren't equally yoked, but we were moving to a place where we could get to, you know, that foundation.
Mhm.
And now that we got to the foundation, it seems like we are unequally yoked. And you know, unequally yoked has so many different meanings. You know, I'm a fun person, and you're, you know, you know, you're always
Boring.
negative. You know, boring and negative. You know, I'm a go-getter, and you never want to do anything. You know, I like outdoors, and you like to watch TV. You know, so you know, there's so many different equations in there that you know, we could point the finger to. But being unequally yoked is probably one of the biggest reasons that you might fall out of love with your significant other.
Well,
They're
no.
not interesting to you anymore. You don't seek them anymore. They don't push your button anymore. They don't light your fire anymore. And when that happens, you know, you can't just run out of a relationship because you're not in love. Oftentimes, you know, not being in love causes you to seek attention on outside of the home.
Well, yeah, that's your ego.
Yeah. Well, you know, that might be ego,
That
but
could be
you know,
ego right there, 'cause I promise you,
it'd be
ego
like,
gets back
okay,
into
listen,
self.
I look at it this way: everybody gonna get their switch hit. And if I ain't getting my switch hit at home, then somebody probably gonna hit my switch right outside the home, right? So I'm just saying that. You know,
I
you
didn't
get what
want
I'm
to
saying,
agree,
right?
but yeah.
Okay.
It gets back into your
Okay.
ego. You know your switch. You know it ain't getting hit.
Yeah.
And now you know somebody else could be more than happy to do it.
Yeah.
It gets back into you.
You
You like,
might
you know
fall out-
something?
fall out
That
of love.
nigga. Oh yeah, that nigga argument. Now I'm not gonna sit here and tolerate this no more. You want me to leave? No problem. Because now you got plans on going somewhere else. And that's where it gets to the ego, because I already know I can get settled. I already know I can go there.
I already
And
know,
that's
right.
more of selfish. That's back to ego.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about that a lot. That you know, having lots of choices really don't help the home.
You know, you start to snitch, yeah.
You know, having
Start to snitch,
having
bro.
lots of choices doesn't really help staying at home and dealing with
It
the
helped the
person
team though.
that you've fallen in.
I got a team.
Yeah. You're not supposed to have a team. Jay. You're not supposed to
I'm
have a team.
playing a serious game. I got
Especially not
a
a
team.
married man. You know.
I ain't married. That's why I got a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it takes and it's just not a I in team,
Mhm.
but it damn sure is and me. So you gotta understand what you playing with and what you coaching. You know, and there's some people that can't play with you. They gotta be on the bench, but you gotta have your back up in reserve. And then some people just need to be in the stands.
That's a single lifestyle, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely the same.
Okay.
If you do take this in the marriage, you gonna have some problems.
Yeah, yeah. That's a single
Yeah,
lifestyle.
yeah.
Okay. See, I like to try to keep our audience aware of what perspective we're talking from. You
I'm gonna
know.
give you a single perspective.
Yeah, that is most certainly a single perspective.
Definitely.
So there wasn't no love in there, in no equation. You know.
I mean,
You
somebody
fell
could
out-
have felt it, but
fell out of like, right?
I mean, it was all the game.
It was all the game.
It was all the game.
Yeah. So listen, I think that was a rich dialogue on being with a person who you probably need to be making some changes with. You probably need to be breaking up with them. You probably need to be moving on with your life. You probably need to be finding new opportunities for relationship and for self. But you hang in there. And that period of hanging in there is a tough period.
Right.
Because you oftentimes can feel like an outsider in your own home. You know, you got to share a space, and you got to share, you know, a life with this person, and you don't even like them. You know, that's a toxic relationship, and you know, there are ways to fix those. You know, if you catch it early, but if it's long gone and you've been dealing with it for many years, and you know, you've been dealing with it for 2, 5, 10, 20 years, and all of a sudden you wake up. You wake up one day and say, you know what, this is just no longer for me. It doesn't matter how long you've been dealing with it. Today is the day that I say no more. On that day, you'll be liberated. On that day, you'll be able to begin the process of crossing this great barrier of being with somebody who you don't like. And it comes a time when you have to be very clear and very conscious in your decision making so that you can move forward to your next life. Because we're going to spend the rest of the show talking about moving on. And, you know, that is a process. You know, in order to move on, we've got to let go. In order to move on, we got to start finding some healing. In order to move on, we have to cut ties. In order to move on, we've got to, you know, find some new opportunities for expression. You know, there's 100 things I can name that, you know, but in order to move on, all of that's got to be gone.
And just knowing all that
Got to
happens,
be gone.
and you say, okay, you woke up because there's gonna be a fight. They ain't always gonna be willing to accept that. And it's going to be a situation that you really have to anticipate. Because again, people like closure. Well, I don't really feel like closure is necessary, but
It's not
some people
necessary.
feel like it is.
It's not necessary.
But that's another reason to argue.
Yeah.
And that's another reason they get back in front of you,
Yeah.
which normally causes more altercations.
Yeah.
So-
You got closure before you make the damn decision to leave.
But they
In
should.
your mind, you know, people don't just leave with questions. They leave with convictions. You know what I'm saying?
Because of past actions.
Yes. Yeah. And so I done seen what I need to see. This ain't gonna work out for me no more. Let's go ahead and part ways and maybe be great friends. Right?
Well, it's just part ways for them.
Yeah.
Friends come later. A lot of
Well, it
emotions.
depends on how mature. You know, my parents were very mature. They were friends from day one. You know,
Okay.
they were friends when I helped Mama move out into her new place. And she fixed dinner for us that night, and he kissed her goodnight and said, "I'll talk to you later, baby." And that was the first night they ever spent apart. And it was great for you. Woke up the next morning calling each other. How you doing? What else need to happen? You know. So you know, that breakup doesn't have to be a horrible breakup. You know, and we may need to talk a little bit about that.
I think we do.
It doesn't have to be that way.
I think that'll have more value.
Yeah, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about that transition. You know, how do we make the breakup? And then we'll spend some time, we're definitely going to spend some time talking about how to move on. This is a fantastic dialogue, Jay. I mean, we've been in the game right now tonight. So thank you folks for being with us. We're going to go ahead and take another break. I got another track for you. This is a brand new track that I just discovered this afternoon, and I hope you enjoy it. It's all about breakup. We'll be right back. More Boy Talk to the Chick. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Now, this segment right here, only thing I can tell you in the upfront, I don't know how his day went. Hopefully he had a wonderful day. Because if he had a bad day, only thing I can tell you, he'll probably slap the taste out your mouth. Jeffrey, how you doing today, big baby?
Brother Jay, how's it going today, sir?
It's kind of nervous. Kind of wondering how you know it. Because it's kind of raining today. I'm trying to make sure it don't rain tonight on me, player.
Brother Crab, how you doing over there, sir?
Man, I'm doing good, bruh. Doing good. Always good to hear from you. How are you tonight, man?
Oh, man, you know, in spite of the rain, we got some sunshine over here currently.
Okay.
You know, not too hot, not too cold, and my granddaughter loves me, my son and my daughter love me, my mama loves me, and you know what time it is.
Yes, sir.
It's time for you to close your mouth and listen. You ask me some questions. I give you some answers from a man's point of view. Now I got one reason for the habitually single woman, and I got one reason for the habitually single man as to why you might be single. But before we get into that, here is my disclaimer. Now, see, what I'm going to talk about may not apply to you. If it doesn't apply to you, I don't want you to put your foot up in this shoe.
Okay.
But if it does apply to you, I want you to put both feet in both shoes and walk around in them because you're about to learn something tonight, ladies. You go first.
All right.
All right, ladies, y'all on one today now. See, y'all tripping around here. See, some of y'all can relate to the feminine man more than you can relate to the masculine man. Y'all tripping today, ladies. I need you to understand something. See, when you describe a man, the perfect man for you, the quintessential man in your eye, you say you want someone who is sensitive, who is tender, who can communicate in a way that you understand, and who loves to touch and feel you every minute of the day. But what you have just described is a woman. Ooh, I want you to understand. I want you to understand. Now, we're going to tell you how we feel about you, but you're not going to decode it in the way because, man, we don't talk like women. We don't walk like women. We don't do what you want us to do when you want us to do it like some women might do. But what I want you to understand, when we do the things that we do, you don't understand it, so you start popping off at the mouth saying stuff like a real man would do it this way, and a real man would do it that way. How the hell do you know? You don't even know your father. I want you to understand something, ladies. Take this tip from a man that's masculine. You have to learn us In the same way that we have to learn you. The relationship is about the we and not the she. But you keep focusing on the she, and the she is all that you see when you look in that mirror. Single ass.
Won't be no me.
He had a tough day at work, bro.
I tried to tell
He
you.
had a tough day at
I
work.
told you that rain pissed.
Listen, that is dynamic dialogue, man, because yeah, women, when they describe men, they really describe women. They want some soft, tender, you know, they don't want the man who
Hardcore.
the man who he's got to be outside of the house, right? He's got to be determined, and he's got to be protective, and he's got to be, you know, he got to hold his own outside, you know, but inside he wants, you know, she might want him to be a little more, you know, laid back, a little more quiet on the subject, you know, not be so outspoken. And that is a problem for a real man.
That's gonna cause some
All day,
problems, for
every day.
real.
Yeah. So we'll hand it back over to you, Brother Jeffrey.
All right now, fellas, don't think I'm letting y'all off the hook. Fellas, you are next. All right, fellas, some of y'all are single simply because you are too woke. I mean, you so woke that you sleep and you dream of women and their submission, but you don't have the strength to bring that out of a woman. You so woke. You so woke that your worst nightmare is an independent woman who expects you to earn her trust, holds you accountable for your actions, and actually requires you to step up to earn her submission. You so woke that you forgot about how important it is to honor your mother,
Yes.
your sister, your daughter, and your aunts, and how necessary they are in the formation of who you are as a man, because you're just so damn woke. Now, see, brothers, I need you to stay woke. I need you to stay conscious. I need you to stay deep. But until you recognize how necessary women are for our feminine balance, well, your ass might as well stay broke, stay woke, and expect to be single.
Single ass.
Man,
Yes.
that one right there had me puzzled like a mug because he kept saying whoa. Shit, it seemed like he was asleep.
Yeah.
Because you ain't
Yeah.
catching on to the balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, he brought some great points on that one.
He did. See, there is a need for women.
All day long.
And we have to be able to recognize that need, that femininity that they bring into our world, that, you know, that balance, you know. And I would even go so far, and I'm not sure where I'm going here, but let me try this. That not only do we have a need for women, but we have a need for a woman's touch. And I'm not talking about sexual touch. I'm just talking about a woman's, you know, covetousness. You know, you know, when a woman expects her man to come through for her, and the man come through, that we need that. You know, we need them leaning on us, and us fulfilling their need, and seeing that we can fulfill their need. You know, that's a pretty deep subject. That's a pretty deep subject. I won't go too much further because I'll spin it off too much. But you are most certainly awoke, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah. Kind of pissed.
Yeah. So we'll hand it back over to you, sir.
Obviously, he didn't get his second stimulus check.
Yes, that is what we need to love of a woman.
Man, listen, I saw something on Facebook and it went a little something like this. To paraphrase, it said, we black women need to break away from the black man because we continue to be stigmatized because of them. That's something I read on Facebook today. I need y'all to understand something, ladies. You can keep on talking about how you'll be better off detaching yourself from the black man because of this, that, and the other. What you got to remember, though, there is absolutely nothing that you do that isn't intrinsically tied to the black family, first of all, and that includes the black man. Don't get it twisted. We men, we got some things we got to take care of. We got some stepping up that we have to do. At the same time, what in the Candace Owens is going on here? Ladies, I need you to understand. You can only go so far. or you can only go as far as the black family progresses. There is no progress without the black family. I don't care how many businesses you start. What that little black boy is going to look up to more or just as much, if not more, than looking up to his black mother is his black father. I want you to understand something. When that little girl is starting to pattern her understanding of what black love is, she's going to be looking at her black father. So if you continue to substitute the black man with everything else, what you will end up with is a fragmented family unit, and that does nothing to advance you at all. There is no true progress in our community until the black family progresses. So I need y'all to understand something, ladies. I love y'all to death. I admire what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't think you can advance without us, because there ain't nothing but folly, and that's you driving yourself to the cliff. And that's all I got to say about that.
Now, that's Proverbs right there, buddy.
What? I think he was talking to somebody in the studio.
Yeah, that's Proverbs, man. I was just studying that. That's good stuff, Brother Jeffrey. Yeah, we need each other. Bottom line is, you know, black man, the black woman, we need each other, and we need to build as we build each other, what we're really building is family. And, you know, Jeffrey, you continue to preach on that subject, and we are encouraged by the message every single time. I got a real quick question for you. This is tonight's topic. It goes like this. How do you move on or continue living life after a long-term relationship breakup, divorce, or death of a spouse? How do you move on, Brother Jeffrey?
Oh man, it's a real simple formula. First of all, the formula is take every year that you were together and equate that to 1 month. Every year equals a month. So if you were together for a year, you need 1 month of complete solitude, meaning you're not dipping and dabbing and doing none of that stuff with nobody else. You need a month to purge that relationship from you and your system before you move forward with any type of anything in any direction towards a relationship. That's the first thing you do. The second thing that you do is you take the relationship as a lesson, not something you lost time or wasted time in. There is no such thing as wasted time. Time is precious, of course, but if you learn to appreciate every lesson that you gained over time, you're not worried about how bad a relationship broke up.
Yes.
Because you've taken the good things from that relationship and you appreciate those, and you take the things that weren't so good and you learn from those, and it becomes experiential. And the best way to learn is through experience. So once you have those experiences, you're setting yourself up for a better relationship in the future. Quit playing around, taking that relationship and putting it in a bag and toting it around with you. That damn bag's too heavy anyway.
Yes.
Let them bags go. Appreciate what was good, learn from what was bad, and move on into greatness.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Listen, man, thank you so much. You always come with that fire every week. And any parting words for us, sir?
Oh man, my granddaughter loved me and I loved her, but she showed me choosing her mama over me. That it hurts my feelings every time she run away from me and go to spend time with her mama. She hurt my feelings today, fellas. I gotta tell somebody. Y'all ask for it.
Yeah.
I just my little granddaughter just hurt my feelings today, but I still love her.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, we know you love her, man.
Yeah, that's right.
She know not what she do, man.
She just know who she like. Ain't grandpa, it ain't you today.
but it will be, for sure. Have a good night, my friend. Thank you for being with us, man.
All right, y'all take it easy, fellas.
Okay. All right, folks, it is time for us to take our next break. We always love the good Reverend Dr. Jeffrey. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this track.
You want to keep going?
Yeah, it ain't but 12 minutes. We're only 12 minutes in.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock, so we just, because we played 2 songs, 2.5 songs, well, perhaps.
Hey, well,
Let's go.
this is what we do.
Okay, this is what we do. Let's go ahead. We got a few more minutes before we go to our break. So what we're going to do is, how do you continue on and how do you move on and continue living life after a long-term relationship breakup, divorce, or spouse, or death of a spouse?
And again, I mean, Jeffrey named some great things. And one of the things I can tell you again, I like the lesson. if you look at a lot of times, and I like the formula he gave. I want to get back to the formula because a lot of times you have to equate things to time. Because if I was with her for 10 years and you expect to come out of that to be able to run into something else, I like the formula of taking a month for every year. The reason why, it takes time for you to get a person out of your system. And what he said is totally true because you're so used to that person. Regardless of good, bad, or whatever reasons y'all went your own way. For you to heal, you need time. And that happens when you start putting yourself back together. That person played a big part in your life for a long time. Regardless of celebrate or tolerate it, they still played a huge part. And you won't learn the lesson until you reevaluate that time.
Right.
And that's not being with somebody else because that's taking away the time that you need. And you're putting it with somebody else, and that's what you call carrying baggage. Because now you're carrying it with them, and you never released it from you. And until you release that, you carry it. And that's what happened. You got, let's just say 16 years worth of baggage. And you waited 3 months out of respect because you wanted to give it some time. That really wasn't enough, but you didn't know a formula. We gave a formula now. So now you know you should have gave a lot more time. Well, now you can understand why you had so many failures.
Yes. You didn't have any healing.
Right. Because you didn't, but you didn't know the process.
Yes.
Because you didn't expect that to happen.
Yes. And we recently talked about this. I don't think a month is enough for a year's relationship. Maybe 90 days, maybe even 6 months. Maybe even a year. Right?
A year for a year?
You know, 6
You'll
months,
be-
you know,
you
90
definitely gonna be by yourself.
a month just ain't enough.
That's why I just date.
You day in and day out, you know, you 365 days, you're gonna need more than 10%. I think you're gonna need more like 25, 30% in order to get that person out of your system and to regain. You gotta, you know, as you separate from somebody, there's a point at which you let them go, and you have to now
10
regain
days.
your own sense of self, right?
Right.
You know, and so, you know, gaining that sense of self is what that period is about. It's about coming into alignment with who you are and where you're going and what you want. And the other side of it is I'm really purging my own spirit. I'm really getting rid of the thoughts that I have about all of that happened, the emotions that I have about all of that happened. I'm getting over my past. And it takes a period of time to do so in almost anything, right? I like how he said, use the relationship as a lesson.
Right. Not a curse.
Not a curse, right? And what that really says is that, okay, everything I just went through is, there's something to be learned from it. What did I learn from it? Not to be thinking that I wasted my time, not to be thinking that it was a mistake. And, you know, to some degree, those may be accurate. But, you know, he's basically saying find a way to get some healing about yesterday, right? If you look at it as you deserved what they put you through, or you took ownership of what they put you through in some way, then you got the wrong perspective on it, right? The perspective is that I went through it, I'll never go through it again, and I'm a much better person because I did. And so, you know, let's find something else to live life for, rather than those people. For the most part, let's find a way to live life for ourselves, you know. So yeah, that was really, really good dialogue. Where we at on time, Boo?
We're at 16:40. 16 minutes, 40 seconds.
4 minutes, okay. All right, so the leaving process. How does that look, Jay? Do you just get up and leave?
No.
Or do you set it up with a talk or a dialogue? Do you wait till the next argument to blow up before you make the shift? You write them a letter? Or can you send them a text message?
Them things gonna definitely get a person riled up.
You just serve them with papers?
That's really gonna get them riled up. My whole thing is know the person that you've been with.
Nah, you gonna know them no more. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
no, you still know 'em.
You finna break up with them.
You're about to break up, but you still know them. And if you know these things is gonna bring a negative reaction, then
Damn,
you'll
now
cause it.
leaving is gonna be a negative reaction.
It is, but you know a text is very insensitive.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
was
saying.
really joking about
Yeah, I
your
know, but I'm just
text.
saying you poking the bear.
Yeah.
So you gonna see a grizzly come at you. That's all I'm saying when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And again, that talk is gonna be a difficult talk, but sometimes you want to plan it out, as in how you want your feelings to be laid out, for it to be more factual, not just emotional. Because a lot of times you get in your feelings. I'm upset that we keep going through this. I don't really want it to end, but it seems like it's the best thing for us. If you gotta find a way to communicate that without getting in your feelings, because you get choked up. This person took a lot of your time, and I don't
Did you
just look at
wrong,
your time,
whatever
right?
the case
But
may be.
it just went so long before I had to come to the realization that it ain't gonna work.
Right.
It's not healthy for you, it ain't healthy for me, and I have to make a decision.
Right.
That decision gonna be selfish because they gonna feel like, well, what do I got? I feel like we shouldn't be making this. I have to look out for my own health and wellness as well. And if we talk, and that's the number one thing, if we had communication, if we didn't have communication, then I really got to set a time to make sure we have some before I just make that harsh decision. Because when that decision is made, there's really no going back.
There's no going back.
Because at that point you're playing.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like games being played because you're
Yeah.
just using the out
But
to
you-
get a person to do better when you know you don't even want that person. Now that's when you're playing games. And I really feel like it should never be played. It is to leave or to stay. Not to make a person just to do better. That is your ego. That's the wrong way to play with anybody.
That's the wrong way to play with it. Yeah,
All day.
Yeah, you don't say, if I'm gonna leave if you don't do X, Y, and Z.
But then she do a little bit of it. Okay. But next time
listen,
I'm really
as
out.
shortly as you bring it up, she gonna do it.
Oh, every time you
That's
bring it
how
up.
they do, right?
So now you got a control situation that you really ain't controlling. She
Yeah.
probably playing you.
Yeah.
While you doing that, she already setting up the next person.
Yeah,
So by the time you call yourself leaving, she already had left.
yeah, yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah, and I had a whole thought process. Let's go ahead and take us a break. You folks, stay tuned with us. We're going to be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay. A lot of good stuff. You were going in on that segment. So much stuff, man, I can't even take notes on. You've been moving so fast, bro.
I mean, you gotta understand a lot of thoughts come to your mind when it comes to a relationship.
Yeah, when it comes to a breakup, especially,
And especially one that's meaningful.
Right.
And that's
One
why
that you cherish, you really cherish it,
yes.
but you realize there's nowhere to go.
And
so,
that's one of the hardest decisions because you look at time and a lot of times you've been with a person for, and I like to say really after 5 or 6 years, you invested so much that you feel like is it worth giving up on? And you have to use your own formula. And it starts with your own happiness. If I was already happy and I noticed I met her, she was happy, and now we're both miserable, we're taking from each other. And what you're building on? I mean, everything that we started with, we lost. And then we trying to hold it together because of time, but time ain't working for us. And that's one of the times you have to make them harsh decisions.
yeah, time ain't working for us. And one of the things, this is probably more of a man thought than anyone else.
Okay.
That when a man gets ready to break up and is on his way out, he's already turned a corner in his heart. Right? He's already pretty much said, men are kind of black and white creatures, and so he's already turned the corner. He's already blacked out, and then he starts to think about his new life. He starts to think about what life is going to be like on the other side. And that is not the kind of picture that you really want your man to be envisioning. Because there is a whole lot of freedom and a whole lot of, we'll call them sinful activities, but there's a lot that can capture a man's attention if he's going to leave his home. And you know, I don't know why I said that, but
I'm just saying.
it's a point of contention that if it's time to go, then you know, men oftentimes will start thinking about their opportunities, and that's one of the ways that they'll start to break the cycle. You know, that's one of the ways that will help them move on. Is that, hey, I'm gonna have a new life, and it's gonna be like this, and I ain't gonna have no trouble, no worries, da 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 da. So to some degree, that decision becomes easy for a man. It's, you know, a man says it's the life is after this is easy, right? Life after this is so much easier. I don't have to put up with this, you know, the unhappiness and all this arguing and all this challenge, and you know, I can just move on. So I just encourage you men who are considering a breakup and considering leaving your spouse to think deeper. You know, those things, those worldly things are not good. They really are not good. They're not good for you. They will not edify your spirit. They will not feed you. They will not help you. All it's going to do is take away from you. And your best place is right there in your relationship. The very best place you can be. The studies have shown across the history of mankind that men who are married or in a deep long-term relationship are way, way, way more successful than men who are not. Now, not to say that a single man couldn't make big things happen in his life, but married men hold the ring for success and achievement in the world. So there is some value with you being there. I promise you, there's a lot of distractions out there, and that's not really what you want. Let's turn the table to getting out, right? Ooh. You're moving out of your house, and you're moving away from this person, and what's the first things that you do to move on? What's the first things that you do that will alleviate your spirit? What's the things that you do that would cause you to not be stressful or strained or struggled by this past relationship anymore?
Sometimes you gotta watch what you carry. A lot of times you grab things that you two have done. You grab things that y'all walked together, and then you trying to move on, and you still holding on to things that can bring you back past memories.
Are you talking about things and stuff?
Yeah, things and stuff.
Pictures,
I'm just talking about remember. Yeah,
memorabilia?
you taking stuff, and don't get me wrong, you've been with that person for a lot of time. But when you start taking a lot of that, it's almost you gotta ask yourself, why are you bringing what you're trying to leave? But you ain't bringing the person. That person ain't gonna bring that person back. So if I'm trying to move on, there's gonna be a selection of things I'm gonna take because I'm trying to change.
Right.
I'm not trying to add to my misery. At that point, I want to make a break. And it takes you to be a stronger person to look at you don't need all the stuff that you have in front of you. I'm a person that you can rebuild off of knowing you. If you did it all off of her, and that's all you ever wanted, then y'all shouldn't have been together in the first place. Y'all supposed to be feeding off each other, and that's each other's happiness. But what I noticed is people just feed off a person.
Yeah, and you know, I really like part of the conversation where we're talking about let it all go, right?
It's hard.
Make the decision that you're gonna replace it, that you're gonna get it again. Just let it all go. Don't be so tied to things and stuff. Don't be so tied to what you had together. I think it's very important that you don't necessarily even sometimes share friends. You don't, you know, let go of those old memory books, those old pictures, those old cards that are going on, you know, that they've given you over time. You know, you really got to turn away from all that you know, and you got to do it consciously. I've had spaces of time between relationships where I literally forced myself not to think about them. And I would go shopping, and I would go, you know, to the beach, and I would go hang out and do all kinds of stuff, and I would force myself for 2 or 3 days to just purge of that person. And I found that, you know, my system of purging, you know, by the 3rd day, I'm in good shape, bro. By the 3rd day, I'm in great shape, right? Yeah, so, but you got to start a new life, and that's a new place to live, new place, you know, maybe visitation with the kids, maybe that's how you manage your money, how you distribute your time, etc. So it's important that you just make a clear and conscious break. You know, if you're thinking about that person all night long, and you looking through old pictures and looking through, you know, happy times that you had,
You're prolonging it.
you really are prolonging the pain.
Prolonging it, right.
And so, you know, you got to find a way to just stop thinking about the other person. You can still love them, you can still care for them, but if you are wallowing still in them and in the relationship, you're going to continue to cause yourself pain. And let's just say it takes you 3 months to stop wallowing in them. Then you're going to need another 3 months to start finding yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe another 6 months to start finding yourself. Right?
True.
So it's just important that you make a break, you know?
Conscious decision.
Conscious decision.
Because
Absolutely.
that's what's going to change things. It's your conscience.
Yes.
And again, that's what's impacted. That's why I said relationships are mental. It adds so much to you. It enriches you. Especially when you're looking at somebody else and you're trying to do for somebody else. When I tell you it gives you some kind of encouragement and a change in what you would see life as, because we're normally selfish, okay? And when you go through life selfish and everything's about me, I buy for me, I love me, which is needed, don't get me wrong. But then you see somebody else and I care so much for them, then I'm stopped thinking of me, I love me, but I love you more. That's where it becomes so hurtful, because I'm reflecting that I want to show you that I have so much love for me that I want to share so much more with you. It just changes, and it's a mental. And a lot of people don't even get there. It just becomes about them, it becomes about her, and it ain't about us. It just becomes selfish and what you can do for me and what you can do for me instead of what we can do together.
Now see, maybe I missed something in that equation, right? You still wallowing, Jay? I thought we was moving on, right?
I mean,
We
you
talking
wallow
about-
until you get past. We don't always get past. I wallow because, again, there's some things that I didn't have resolved. And that's what takes time. That's why you don't jump into something else. Because you're going to equate it to the person you with. Now it's unfair. It ain't fair for you to be judging her off of what somebody you was just with that you knew wasn't healthy. You never got past. But now you trying to make sure she don't turn out that way. Well, don't worry, you're going to manifest that.
Yeah.
Because you the problem. You are the common denominator in your own misery. And until you get it right, you're contaminating a whole lot of contaminated soil. And you wonder why shit ain't growing. It's because of you.
Well, what you got to say, C?
I'm gonna do a little mini Minecraft question.
Okay.
So from what I'm hearing, what you guys are saying, basically you have people who are looking to hold on to some happiness,
Okay.
but humans need companionship just by nature, just most people.
Okay.
So how do people overcome that inner instinct to be a companion?
I mean, that's what it sounds like you were saying.
I mean, you can take it where you want, but to go after that companionship over trying to find their actual personal happiness. You know,
Okay.
like how do you deal with that conflict rubbing up against each other?
Okay. I'll tell you how I have done it.
Yeah. I got the other way.
Yeah, I'm one who is I got a lot of self-discipline, right?
Right.
I got a lot of self-control, right? I don't I don't just do things off whim, you know. I'm not a sporadic type person.
Mhm.
So if I'm going to go on a date, when I went on a date shortly after my relationship, I played in my head that we were just going to have a great time.
Right.
So the notion is, hey, I'm only here to have a great time. Get to know her, you know, ain't gonna be no pressure, I ain't trying to go nowhere, I ain't trying to do nothing. All I wanna do is just have a great dinner and a great dialogue, right?
Right. That's my life.
Because what I really need right now, Stacy, is a friend. And maybe even more so, I need a female friend, okay?
Right.
And so go ahead and participate in this friendship. Don't put anything into it.
Right.
Don't say that it's, we're going to try to work on second date, so this is gonna be my next lady, or I'm not gonna make any decision about she might be Mrs. Right. All I'm gonna do, see, what I'm really doing is I'm setting myself up. I'm giving myself the rules of engagement before I get to, right? So
the good part.
yeah, so that I can enjoy the company of a woman and not be looking for a relationship. And that could be a part of my healing process. Yeah, by nature, we're all going to need someone, right? And if you've been sleeping with someone for years, you're probably not just gonna come out of that relationship and sleep by yourself. But you might need to sleep by yourself, but you're really gonna want some companionship. And you gotta decide, especially ladies, because ladies do a lot of things for emotional reasons, that if you gonna have that one night stand, if you gonna let them hit it that night, that it only means that.
Okay,
It does not mean that, that you're gonna be in a relationship. And you're gonna, need to see him the next day, and y'all talk again. Don't worry about if he calls you the next day. You gotta just experience the moment of passion and leave it at that. That is a part of the healing. Experience the moment of passion, and the next day, even myself, I remember saying, "Yay, I did that." I did that. That wasn't too bad.
When she wasn't around.
Yeah, and I might have, I might say, well, let me call somebody else. Or let me call her, right?
Yeah, don't call the one you was just with.
It'll open your spirit up, right? It's not to say that we use other people to get over a relationship or a breakup, but see, you make a great point. We do need the opposite sex in our life, right? And we can't deny ourselves of that. I think denying yourself of that for too long will start to be problematic, right? Because now you'll get out of touch. You'll get out of touch with talking to people. It's easy to get out of touch with getting to know people and being in a relationship and friendship. And if you get out and you don't see anybody for 6 months to a year, when it's time to have a friendship or relationship, you overstep your boundaries. You go too hard, So
you ain't had none.
You
went too long.
Or as soon as you get some, you lose your mind.
Yeah. No, you're gonna lose it quickly. So you might want to work on some things.
Yeah.
Somebody said you might want to twist that off real quick.
Yeah.
But get rid of that first one. Again, see, when I heard it, I looked at the more perverted style. I heard you single view. And again, I like it when you do a dialogue with a person up front.
Yes.
If you got time to be able to sit down with a person and let them know I'm not looking for a monogamous relationship, I'm just looking for a friend, and it goes somewhere, you have to hold yourself more accountable, because even though you say it, they ain't believe you.
Yes.
You can say it all day long, I've said these lines, and I'm going to tell you all day long, they still look at your actions.
Yeah.
And if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you're going to show relationship type ideals, because you can understand that's just you.
Yeah.
But again, I'm telling you on the upfront, I know I'm still going through some things, so I'm not looking for nothing major.
Yes.
If something come out with it later, which you always want to stay away from, because again, that's leading.
You know what, Jay? What's interesting about that equation, right? Before I got married, I had three-year relationships.
That's all.
Okay. Listen, it's just my journey, right?
Okay.
3-year relationships, right? So in these relationships, I get married. So 3, I get married. I'm married for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what seemed to have happened every single time is very shortly after the breakup, the next Mrs. Certified Bonafide shows up. And it's not like you wanted to.
Right.
It's not like, you planned this.
But it was there.
But she just showed up. And you like, wait a minute, it's really too early, you know what I'm saying? I had about 9 other people I wanted to go out with first, But she came and she, you chose, she chose, and y'all ended up there together. And it was right. And it was right for years of a relationship. There were parts of the relationship we had to fight through.
Right.
And all of them. But, I guess I'm saying that to just say that if you are just in a recent breakup or divorce, it doesn't mean that the next Mrs. or Mr. Right couldn't potentially be right there. And hopefully they wasn't there before, but they could. Yeah, they could be very close to you, and you just got to be mindful. You got to be mindful. Prayer, I think, is a great way to entertain any of this. Is this the person I need to spend more time with? Show me what I need to be thinking about this person, Lord. Fill my heart with joy without this person. Give me friendship and companionship, but don't make me have to trust them, or don't make me have to lean on them. Let us just have a harmonious relationship. See, I'm praying over it. I'm talking to the Lord about what I want to experience. I'm asking the Lord to keep me from temptation and to keep me out of feeling too much, and to change my mind when there's something I shouldn't be. You know, I've had young ladies who I've been introduced to, and I've spent a little time with, maybe a month or two, whatever. And then I started asking the Lord. I'm like, Lord, this feels good, but is this right? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this what's supposed to happen? And then all of a sudden, they disappear. All of a sudden, they fade away. And so the Lord was telling me that, hey, that might have been a great friend, a great experience, but it's meant not for you to fall in love with that person for X, Y, and Z, for whatever the reason. But it's meant for you to go on and do this, that, or meet this particular person. So prayer could be a very effective way. Actually, it's probably the most effective way
What
to
happens?
engage the next person who comes into your life.
What happens when you having sex and they calling out Jesus and they calling out prayer?
Let's take a
Is
break,
that a
man.
sign? Is that a sign?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, they calling out. I'm like,
Yeah, that's what they call getting their freak on.
okay, all right. I was a little worried.
I want y'all to
I
stay
had a
tuned.
moment there.
Yeah, we're gonna be right back with one more cup with Jay.
And we back. We Bar Talk with
Yeah,
Jay.
we back. Well, y'all talking about some crazy stuff.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Only on break.
Every break almost, right?
Man, we gotta go in.
Yeah, so tonight, folks, we're talking about how do you move on or continue living life after a long-term relationship breakup, divorce, or death of a spouse. And I think probably one of the greatest antidotes for this situation is a trip. Just completely get away from the place you live in, from the people you're around. Take you a cruise, take you 3 or 4 days to go down to the beach, to go to the mountains, go see some family, some old friends. Get away is one of the best ways to kind of relieve your mind of some of the concerns you have. Give you a chance to let the dust settle a little bit, give you a chance to reflect. And of course, when you get away, it's probably not a good idea to be, talking to the other person and letting them rile you up while you're in the mountains.
I agree with that.
You get on the phone with somebody while you're on your trip and they upset you, and it's
Mess your old trip.
you mess the whole trip up. 3, 4, 5 hours later, you find yourself settling down, finally enjoying that drink and that dinner, when you shouldn't have called them in the first place. You need to have stayed there. Now, of course, if you are, we haven't yet to cover this, but if you lost a loved one, a trip might be a good thing as well. I know that a lot of people spend a great deal of time alone after the death of a loved one. And, there are lots of family come around, lots of friends come around. There's a lot of support going on, but some of those real hard, runny-nosed cries that you have to happen alone. Have to happen when you're sitting in your spouse's favorite chair, and you got their blanket on, or you're watching their favorite TV program. There's some of those things that just have to happen alone. And the grieving process, and that's really what we're talking about here, is how do you grieve over the loss of a loved one, and whether that be a breakup or a death. Grieving is important, and taking time to reflect, taking time to cry, taking time to hit the wall if you need to, taking the time to maybe go through the old photo albums and just take it all in. It's not an easy thing to do. I lost a cousin of mine a couple of months ago in the coronavirus, and his wife, I spoke to her just a few days ago, and she is just as upset now, almost as she was the week he passed. And I just noticed that her voice trembling, and she was half crying throughout the entire conversation. And so she's certainly going through a grieving process. She was talking about how she was planning to disperse his wardrobe and all his shoes, and he had lots of cologne and jewelry and hats and all kinds of stuff, memorabilia for his favorite teams and stuff like that. And she was saying how hurtful it was to see all of that. She said every time she goes into the closet, she just loses it because it's just a constant reminder. The clothes even smell like him. So to be able to purge her deceased spouse's stuff is a part of the grieving process. One of those ways to start letting go, to start accepting the reality that they're gone and they're not coming home anymore. I too lost my father about 1.5 years ago, and my father had a ring that he wore all the time, right? And it was a silver ring. Didn't have a lot of swag to it, but that was his ring. And so I started wearing the ring, and the ring caused me to break down more, right? I would, just be in the office writing, and I'd look over at my hand, and I would just think about my dad, and the last time I saw him in the ring, and etc. And it just caused me to break down. So I had to put the ring away. I had to put his cufflinks away. I had to give a couple of his hats away. And that was a part of my grieving process. I remember one of the hats that I had was brand spanking new. It was a very unique hat. And I saw a buddy of mine at work who used to wear that same kind of hat. And so I went to him and gave it to him, and man, he was just so thankful. I said, man, my father's spirit will live on through you by way of this hat. And he was real grateful for that, and it just gave me some healing. It just was one of those things. So, purging is a part of that grieving process. You're going to cry a lot. You're going to have to get rid of the stuff. But most importantly, in all of these situations, you're going to have to focus on the future. You're going to have to create a plan that keeps you out of emotional troubles and out of emotional hardships. You're going to have to go out and be amongst people, and that may be going to church a little more, that may be getting involved in the local organization, that whether it be pets or whether it be for the kids. You're going to need to go to the park and the picnic and spend some time out, breathing fresh air, exercising. You've got to find a way to take your mind off of the old. And until you do, you're doing that old quote we did earlier, you're wallowing. But you got to find a way to attack the future. And I say attack something that's meaningful, that you've been wanting to do for years, you just haven't embraced it. And that could be from a new job and career to going back to school. That could very well be starting a new business. That could be a renewed spirit for your business. Where you spend, think about it. If you spend 8-10 hours working, especially on your own business, it would be nothing now that you're alone to spend 12-15 hours on your business. And really go hard in the paint on that.
Go beast mode.
Yeah, what ultimately we have to do is we got to replace kind of what we lost.
Refocus.
Yeah, you got to replace. So you're real passionate about the person that you loved, and you were passionate about making sure dinner was there, or that y'all spent quality time together, or that y'all watched the same the movie every once a week or whatever. That now you got to fill that void. And filling that void with meaningful, really spiritually meaningful activity for you and you alone is one of the most important things that you can do in any type of losing someone, because that's how you basically start to take care of yourself. That's how you care for yourself in the midst of those scenarios. And sometimes extreme stuff, like, going out and having sex with somebody else.
So you wanted to throw me under the bus there?
No, it may be more difficult to do for someone deceased, right? For a loved one that you lost, because you may even feel like some of those feelings like you cheated on them, or like you're cheating on your old spouse, or something of that nature. Yeah, but,
No.
especially for women, it takes women a long time to get there. If a woman who's been with a man, 10, 20, 30 years, a long time, that she's probably thinking like, that's it. He was the last one. That was my man, and that's the only man I'm ever gonna have. And there is life after. There is life after death, but you got to be ready for it. After you lose a loved one, you got to be ready for it. There is life after a divorce, but you got to be ready for it.
You do. And let me tell you, that one right there, you really have to be patient for as well. If a person goes through something of losing a significant other, and you come in their life, and I've ran into a situation like this, and I'm going to tell you, be mindful. I didn't go into it to be with this person because they lost somebody. I didn't. I met them talking.
Oh, they were easy prey, huh, Jay?
No. It gets deeper than that because I didn't know. You can't blame me. I'm just the player in the game. When you come and you don't tell me all what you've been through, you can't play me and say it's my fault. I had no idea.
Okay, let's just take that for example, Jay. I like that. I like the way you came out with that, right?
I tried.
So if you had have known that she had lost a husband, would you have engaged like you engaged?
I like to tell you how I engaged was still proper and it was not aggressive at all. So I promise you, that portion would just more understand.
Would you have stopped and said, "Are you sure this is what you want, baby?"
I would probably take a little bit more time to make sure mentally she's ready. But again, it's been years. I guess she built herself up to finally dating. But I don't think she was ready to date somebody like me. So again, when you go through something and you take time, you don't know what you're gonna get. And when you run into a person like me, I like to say, she wasn't ready. She pineapples, bro. She wasn't, and it showed immediately. And it wasn't about hitting any of that. It's just a conversation and a dialogue. And I was an easy flow. My whole thing is I got to get to know a person that I'm trying to know.
Right.
So she wanted that. She wasn't ready though. So as I'm talking, I didn't know I was bringing out some of the feelings that she was going through that she was scared of. She didn't think about being scared no more. She thought, I'm ready. And then it brought up some fear. So now I'm seeing other things. So I'm like, wait a minute. She's standoffish. So maybe it's something I said. No, it's something she's still going through.
She's still going.
And she didn't tell me.
Yeah.
So you can't blame me. I didn't know. But I was cautious enough to realize something's going on.
And did you try to comfort her after you did know?
I comforted her in trying to get more out of her for we can have a better dialogue. We was talking. It was just all about talking, no sex, just talking. At this point, I'm trying to figure out why she's pushing back or what's giving her the look. And when I'm talking to her, she ain't telling me about all she's been through. She just letting me know she really haven't been dating in a while. So I'm thinking it's something mild. She ain't dated in a while, Well, again, you haven't. I understand that. And we can take it slow. So I'll tell you what. Let's just do something fun. Because at this point, I'm thinking maybe I'm doing too much. So let's do something fun. But that's what she needed. She needed some excitement. I don't know what everybody needs. It's not a card that you just pull out. I gotta go by a person. And this person look like she going through something. Let's do some fun stuff. I started doing fun stuff. That changed her whole perspective of me. So at that point, it made her really want to get more into me. Because now we're just having fun. It's not about the dating. It's not about hooking up. It's about, hey, you look like you need some enjoyment in your life.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
That's a really good point, Jay, because many of us will encounter people who have just come out of relationships, long-term relationships. They just broke up, and she's still timid. He's still hurt. He's still mad. She's still mad. And when we recognize those things, we really need to take action on them. We really need to, pump our brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Or we need to say, hey, I'm going to wait till this person gets some more time under their belt. I wouldn't encourage just taking advantage of the situation, because I think you're really going to do more damage. But it's hard to tell somebody who you have an affinity for that I'm not going I'm not gonna freak you tonight because I don't think you're ready. Right? I'm not gonna give you nothing tonight because I don't think you're ready.
I ain't say all
Whatever.
that. Hold on, that ain't my book.
Who's gonna turn away from that, right?
I ain't say that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, since I didn't go there, and I took her, we did bumper cars.
Bumper
Okay.
car. You did some fun stuff.
Yeah, we bump cars, and I'm tearing her up. Every time she get free, I'm hitting her again. I'm letting her know what's gonna happen. If you ever come here, you gonna get towed up, okay?
Right.
Bumper cars had her aroused and happy. She got back to a happy state because she forgot how to have fun.
Yeah.
That's what life's about. It's about getting people back to a happy state. She didn't want to be miserable. She didn't want to be saddened by her past. She just forgot how to get happy. I was able to accomplish that. Now, if I'd have known more of what was going on, I might have went a different approach. But their approach was necessary from what she was showing me. A person they gotta understand their own happiness because it helped me know
Yes.
if I need to date her again. Because again, if she's trapped in a place that I feel like I can't reach, then that's probably not a person for me.
Yeah.
That might be a waste of time. Not just because what all she went through, because I don't know it all.
Right.
But we're not gonna make each other where we can communicate and have fun. What are we doing?
Yeah, and listen, I think I told the story before. I met a young lady who had, she had been in a relationship. She had 4 kids, and she was at the point living with her sister, and she didn't have a car. She was, on, subsidies,
Okay.
government subsidies. So, she had a lot of challenges going on in her life. And
Right.
she told me straight out of the gate, she was like, I'm looking for a sexual relationship and nothing more. And,
Damn!
I know, it would hit me right between the eyes.
I know.
But
So you took that all right?
but listen, the most troubling part, right? The most troubling part
Yeah, help me.
was that when I, at the dinner, I took her back to the crib, right?
Uh-huh.
And hug, kiss, good night, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. But on my way out, she called me, and she was like saying stuff like, "When I told you that, I was expecting us to just get up and go get it in."
Exactly.
Right?
She's looking for the bang bang.
She was disappointed that I didn't try to take her somewhere that night, right?
I mean,
But that ain't my stilo, you know what I'm saying?
that's
I
what
mean,
you call
you know,
your boy.
I-
I came on and tore that ass with a condor. 4 kids, she burned a murder, baby.
Superstar.
Superstar.
And when you see her, like superstar, like everything about her. So I was trying to be more respectful. I was
She
trying to be a
ain't asked for
gentleman. Like,
respect. She wanted you to tear it up.
well, I was waiting on the next time, you know what I'm saying? The
Man,
next
might
day.
not be a next.
Well, it was a next.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say, 'cause obviously she wanted it.
Yeah, it was a next.
I give her what they asked.
Yeah, but I was, I was disappointed that I didn't fulfill her need that night because that's what she was asking for, right? But that was her way of coping. That was her way of dealing. Like, hey, I'm going to have a sexual relationship, and
So, hold on.
that's going to help me overcome. I can at least get my swerve on. I ain't got to worry about
Play.
love right now.
After that, did you hit it more than once, or that was just a one time?
No, a few times.
See, that's it. See,
Yeah.
Craft
Yeah.
do that smoothness. See,
No,
a person like myself, it'd been a one-hitter quitter. She done said that. I
No.
try to break her back. I'm done.
Listen, what more do you want than that, Jay? I mean, let's be real, bro.
I didn't want no more than that. That's why I said one-hitter quitter. Ain't no need to stay with it.
No,
She had 4 kids,
she trying to tell you she don't give a shit about none of that.
Exactly.
All she wanted is a sexual relationship.
And I'm gonna give it to
Call
her.
me, hit it, call me, hit it. So why would you quit it after one?
I mean, why would I stay with it? She got
Because she
fucked.
want to get hit.
She want to get hit,
Stop
and then
it.
they be wanting.
They don't be one. She ain't on nothing.
Say, I don't know, bro.
I might have seen something different about it stuck around. But
Exactly.
For the most part, that's
I
all.
was trying to stick.
That's all she was interested in.
I was
you know what I'm saying? So listen, we have really toured this subject tonight. We've got about 8 minutes before we close out, and we have talked about the whole gamut: being in a relationship and not liking them, and staying in the relationship perhaps for long periods of time. And the relationship can become toxic. The relationship can be a stress-based point that's in your house. You're all day, every day living with the thought of this person being around, what they said, what they might say, how they treat you, what they do. And there comes a time where you don't like them, get out. Get out, right? So You know, now you know, there comes a place where you have to make a clean cut, clear decision that that's what you want to do. And in doing that, in making that clear and cut decision, you know, that has to be deep.
Right.
And you're obviously going to do it before you get out of a relationship. So what we also talked about is, do you talk to him? Do you have a conversation? How are you going to send the message? I had a buddy of mine one time. He was telling me that he was about to divorce his wife. And I don't know why he was talking to me, but the Lord just sent him to me. Because he said, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and serve her papers. And, you know, she just going to get papers. And that's how she going to find out that I'm divorcing her. And I said, bruh, I said, you know, I understand what you're trying to achieve, but I'm going to tell you now that if you piss her off, you're going to have to deal with that contention. You need to find a smooth way to get out of this relationship with her. Because if she's mad, she's going to take you. She's entitled. You've been married to her. She's been a housewife for many years. The law expects her to not change her life status and her livelihood, her livingness.
Right.
And so you're going to have to take care of her for at least 10 years if you don't do this thing right. And so he rethought about it, and he said, hey, you know, you're right, Stace. I need to find a more loving way to deal with it. And what I know now is that after the conversation, they kind of decided to work through it.
There you go.
They decided to work it out. So here he is, all in his feelings, frustrated by this relationship, wanting to get out, decided he was gonna get out, but gonna do it the wrong way. But it forces an interaction. You know, my conversation with him forced an interaction, and interaction saved the relationship, at least to date. So there may be some opportunities to hold on to what you got if you can open some doors of communication. You know,
Rap be saving the world, y'all.
Yeah. And then of course we talked about when you get out of the relationship, how do you manage yourself? How do you manage your life? You know, do you immediately go out with someone else? Is going out with someone else a good thing, a bad thing? You know, what should be your mindset and perspective? We really cover some good stuff on this subject. You know, I talked about taking trips and, you know, how you think about the whole scenario. You know, Jeffrey mentioned it's got to be a lesson. The whole relationship has got to be a lesson.
In time.
In
Time to heal.
And so we talked about the mindset. We talked about falling out of love with people. Man, I think we have really, really covered this subject, man. Is there anything that you'd like to bring up, Jay, that we might not have really hit on?
There's going to be a lot of things that we can't touch because we're not everyone. This is just a show to bring you to realize that just great things that you can do. And one of the things I can tell you is when I think of these shows and what I'm trying to do in life, you also want to set some things up to be a paradigm. And when you look at that, I'm looking at September 17th. That's when we started the show. But to a lot of people that wouldn't know, that's my mother's birthday. I need this show to carry on for many, many years. So when even she's not here, she will always be with me. She was a person that carried me. So you want to make sure you're looking at all that's around you to add value to everything that you do. Because that day gonna be a sad day no matter what goes on. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, losing a loved one is a sad day.
But guess what?
Yes.
Remembering a legacy carries on.
Yes.
And a lot of times you hurt and you grieve over the person, but the person gave you purpose.
That's a great point,
You
Jay.
got
That's
to
a great
remember
point.
purpose.
Listen, you know, the good book says, the Bible says that we should rejoice when we lose loved ones, right? And I think in some way we should rejoice even when we have breakups and divorces, because there is a new life to come and there is a new opportunity to experience life. And you know, it's not easy to rejoice. I'm not just saying just be, you know, if you've already left and left a long time ago, you probably will be happy and you want to go out and have drinks and party and have a good time. But you know, it's not an easy thing to do. But the point here of all of this is deal with it.
Right.
Don't run from it. Don't run from the breakup. Don't run from the divorce. Deal with it. Deal with it in your mind. Deal with it in your spirit. Deal with it in your household. Deal with it in your family.
Right.
Deal with it. Don't run from those little situations that'll come up that might cause you to talk to that person or might cause you to have to say no to them for something that they desire. You know, purge yourself in whatever way you can of their spirit. That is the key to the equation. If you truly moved on, find a way to purge yourself. The best scenario, the best information I can give you is pray. Because the Lord can change your mind and change your heart in ways that you could never do. And if you pray over it, He'll give you a new inspiration. He'll give you a new life. He'll give you a new focus. He'll give you a new heart. He'll give you a new life altogether. And so I can't say any more than that. We're going to go ahead and close out this show because we're going to bring you a clip of a promotion I've been talking about for some time now.
Yes.
I have started a company called Mindcraft. It's basically a philosophy and a series of messages that are going to help people to think better and do better in their life. And we've got our first couple of marketing pieces that we just like to add to this show because it would have never come to life if I hadn't have been a part of Bar Talk with Jay. So Sia is going to put that on. That is going to be our closeout, and then we're going to have our ending song. So we thank you folks for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate you listening to our show. Please come back every week. We're here every Thursday, 7 to 9, Facebook Live. And we are only trying to be leaders in our community, put out a positive message, and help people to become their greatest possibility. And so thank you folks for being here. We are, with that, we are going to be out. But please enjoy this Mindcraft segment. And I want you to look forward. I've got some dynamic stuff. And we're going to start hitting the scene with posts and product here in the next couple of weeks. Look for it. And send back messages. Let us know how you like it. We love you folks. Thank you for being a part of our show. And we'll talk to you on next Bar Talk with Jay.
Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.